Hey guys, it's Peggy again. So I am just on a bit of an Etsy rant. I'm looking for stuff too at the same time. I'm on a bit of an Etsy rant. So I'm going to talk about something that seems to get a lot of attention, and it's actually a really, really simple thing that gets blown out of all, just gets blown to hell every time it happens. Anyway, package doesn't show up, package shows up damaged, package shows up whatever, and the seller is going, I'm not responsible for this. I am not responsible. I am not responsible. So can we just talk about when, where, and how you as a shipper, you as a seller are responsible for the mail and what you should and shouldn't do about it. So I don't have any notes. This is just a ramble off the top of my head. So I'm probably going to miss a bunch of stuff, but I'm probably also going to be addressing this in future videos. So I'm not concerned if I leave things out. If I leave something really super obvious out, then comment, let me know, catch me up to my own rambling and bitching. Anyway, so you put a package in the mail and it's on its way. So number one, I always say number one, then I stop numbering. So first off, once you put a package in the mail, tracking it is not your responsibility. And if you're a buyer, hearing this, it's not because buyers suck and people hate you or anything like that. It's because as a seller, if you have even a moderate amount of volume, it's just another huge pain in the ass to be constantly checking up on your tracking, and can really take a lot of time and energy out of your day, especially if it does look like there's starting to be a problem with the package, because then it's a lot of stress. As a seller, reach out, right? Sellers reach out, and trust your seller to reach out if there's a problem. So that's number one. Don't stress yourself if you don't have to. I've seen a whole lot of people that are going, oh, this is what's going on, and I've just checked the tracking and noticed it's a couple of days late and this and that and this and that. And it's like, well, if your customer has a tracking number, they know that too. If it's a problem, they'll reach out. Don't worry about it. Oh, but I have to. So that's the first thing. Once the package is in the mail, it is no longer your responsibility to keep track of it, stress out, and do the things. Keep that in mind. And if your seller is doing that, then I would tell a seller to stop. Anyway. So that's the first thing. Second thing, customer does contact you and say the package is late, the package didn't show up. Says delivered, I don't have it, showed up damaged, showed up whatever, right? It is not your responsibility to pay the cost of lost, stolen, or damaged mail. Except, and this is where it falls apart for everybody. If the product is damaged because you didn't package it properly, it's your fault. Therefore, it's your problem. You do have to deal with it. That's just the end of it. If it is damaged because the gorilla at the airport stomped on it, then it's not your problem. If it fell off the truck and got damaged, it's not your problem. But most of the time, it will be your problem, because most of the time it's impossible to prove where the actual damage came from. And that is just the risk you take as a seller. So if your customer is sending you a photo saying, hey, this showed up broken in two, what are you going to do about it? Well, you're going to give them a refund. And when you give a refund because it's your fault, whether you believe it or not, when you are giving a refund because it's your fault, because you didn't package it properly, you have to give a full refund, including the cost of shipping. This is really important, because if you say to your customer, well, I'll give you a partial refund, no, it's your fault. I will give you a refund, but I will not pay you back for the shipping. No, because it was your fault. I will give you back this much, that much. I will give you a replacement, but I'm not refunding it. No, the customer gets to choose. And if they want a refund, they get a full refund, including the cost of shipping. Well, shipping was free, so I'll refund you minus the cost of shipping. You can never, ever do that. Ever. If shipping was free, when you sent it, the shipping is no longer part of any negotiation when it comes to a refund. Period. End stop. Now, the reason why I'm doing a video on this is because you as the shop owner can lose your fucking business if you try. So, I don't know if they'll kick you out at the first offense, the 10th, the 20th. I don't know what it takes. But buyers have lost their shops over this, because If it's your fault, then it is your responsibility, end of story. And when it comes to products that are damaged in the mail, it is very difficult to prove who damaged it. So Etsy does, for the most part, usually expect you to be the one to deal with it. And that means offering a refund. Now you can offer a replacement if you say, hey, I can either replace it or refund. Which would you like? That's allowed. I don't refund, so I'll just replace it. That's not allowed. If it's your fault, you have to offer. If it's your fault, you have to offer a refund. And like I said, let's back up. Because it's impossible to prove, if you have proof that the shipper damaged it, you're fine, blame the shipper. But you better be able to demonstrate this, like with an apology letter from the shipper or something. Like, the customer sent me this, plus a screenshot of the note that says from the shipper, we are very sorry, one of our carriers dropped this. Then you're fine. Then you can go out to the shipper. Anyway, I'm going in a circle already because that's how I roll. Anyway, so let's address a few. So let's stick to this one for a minute. If the problem was caused by you because you did not package it properly, then Etsy will expect you to take proper remedy, and that is to make the customer whole. And you will see that as a statement. I don't know how old school that actual statement is, but you'll see similar. If it's your fault, you have to offer them a refund, regardless of what your policies say. Your policies are only in place as long as you've done nothing wrong. Now, wrong doesn't mean you packaged it badly on purpose, but obviously if you cannot prove that it wasn't your fault, like I said, with an acknowledgement from the shipper of some kind, then no, you cannot decline. You cannot say, no, I don't do refunds. You have to give them a refund. People have lost their shops over this because that's in Etsy's terms of service, generically in there. And house rules apply, which I need to do a video on house rules. House rules are their own special animal that people don't give enough credit to. Anyway, so you must offer a refund. It must be a full refund, including the cost of shipping. Now, if your customer agrees to take a replacement, that's absolutely fine and you're good to go. Get it in writing. Oh, you didn't respond within 12 minutes, so since you didn't, I'm just going to send you a replacement. No, the customer has to say a replacement's fine, thank you. They have to agree to it. You can't just presume. So you can message your customer messages you and says, hey, this showed up broken because you didn't package it properly. I would like a refund. And then you wait for 24 hours and say, your replacement's on the way. And they say, no, I want a refund. And then they open a case, you will have to refund them. Even if there's a package on its way. Like you're going to walk away feeling super screwed if it goes that way, but just be aware that if the customer contacts you, you need to respond. Like I said, not just they said it's damaged. They said it's damaged. They showed you photos. You can see clear damage, and the shipper's saying it wasn't their fault. Like you can say, hey, just a minute, I'm going to check with the shipper and find out what happened. And the shipper says, well, we didn't do it. You're kind of screwed as far as with Etsy. Etsy doesn't like you to screw around on this stuff. Anyway, and you can refund your customer and then go after the shipper to get your refund. That's a separate thing, especially if you have insurance, right? Anyway. So customer says, I'd like a refund. And you can say, oh, I can refund you, but if you'd like, I can send you a replacement instead. I'll expedite it, get it to you in 2 days, whatever. And if they agree, you're fine. If they don't agree, but you can't just say, these are my policies, this is what I'm doing, and it's on the way, too bad, so sad. Because if they open a case, you'll automatically lose, and it's a strike against you in the background. We don't know how many strikes it takes to get taken down. We don't know. Nobody really knows for sure because Etsy's not going to tell you because that would just be bad business on their end. Okay, I would prefer they would tell me, but from their perspective, it would be bad business to tell me. Okay? Anyway, that's the first one. So if there's a problem in shipping and it is your fault, then you need to offer a refund. Customer says, my package didn't show up. Well, tracking says it did. So here's the steps you need to take. And good customer service, call the shipper. Hey, okay, I'll call the shipper. I'll call the shipper and see what information I can get for you. Don't just come back. Two things. Don't just come back and say, I'm not responsible, end of story. Because Etsy is not necessarily going to look very kindly on you for being so abrupt and dismissive of the customer's needs. So it's always in your best interest. It's always in your best interest to make that courtesy call to the shipper to see if you can get information and then go from there. Because some shippers will, some shippers you have to deal with them, and some shippers will deal with the customer. So you do need to find that out anyway. And then you just let the customer know what's going on. Hey, I just checked. The shipper insists it was delivered. It looks like your next step right now is going to have to be to file a police report. Blah blah blah. Go from there. And if they get angry, you can say, you can call. You have options. You have options. You can tell them, go ahead and contact Etsy directly if you want. Blah blah blah. Whatever. But usually you're gonna try to very tactfully redirect them to, well, check with your neighbors. Check with your neighbors, check to see if they left it at your back door, check this, check that. Now they say, I'm not doing any of that. If they start getting mad right away, you can just turn around and say, I'm sorry, but tracking says this package was delivered. If you're not willing to do, and the only action that can be taken right now is on your end. And if you're not willing to do these steps, I can't help you. And you can walk away. But if you tell them to go fuck themselves, you got a different problem. You can't be rude about it. You got to find ways to nicely communicate with your customers. If my package doesn't get delivered, I'm not necessarily going to be the nicest person you're dealing with for the first couple of sentences until we establish how angry everybody is going to be, right? So that's the thing. Always assume that they're just upset and all you need to do is calm them down. So that one's its own thing. Now, the package didn't show up. I'm not responsible for loss of stolen packages. Okay, where's your fucking tracking number? Oh, I don't track. Well, now you're responsible for it. If a package doesn't show up, and you don't track, your ability to protect yourself pretty much is out the window. Etsy has been known very, very occasionally to accept various types of proof, but it's rare and it's a crapshoot because two people can do the exact same things and get different responses from Etsy. So for the most part, expect that if the package goes missing and you have not tracked that package, whether it's just drop a letter in the mail or a 20-pound box of shit, if you have not tracked it, Etsy isn't going to take your side. So you're reverting back to problem number one. It's your fault. You can't prove you put it in the mail. So here's your refund in full, including the cost of shipping. Period. You have to offer that to the customer first because it's your fault. It doesn't matter. It's like I've got a video showing myself walk into the post. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's very unlikely that Etsy's going to take your proof because Etsy prefers a valid tracking number as proof, and are not very friendly to the idea of you saying, oh, I mailed it. You have to believe me. It's like they hear that crap all the time. They hear it all the time from people who didn't mail shit. Don't blame Etsy. Blame all the other people that are trying to pull a fast one and avoid putting crap in the mail, right? So again, full refund, including the cost of shipping. You can offer to replace it, but they have to accept the offer. You cannot just announce, I'm going to send you a replacement. You have to offer them the option of, if you would prefer a refund, I can have it. I can process that for you right away. But I can also just replace it if that's what you prefer. Or to say, it's easier for me if I just replace it. Does that work for you? Why, sure. Send me a replacement. Okay, you're good to go. But if you don't track, you're taking the risk. So you have the responsibility if it doesn't show up. So there's that. Again, if you've tracked it, tracking says it showed up. Customer opens a case. They're not going to get their money back. Now, they could possibly call into Etsy customer service and escalate it further. And that is something as a buyer, if your package hasn't shown up and you are the buyer, and the seller is telling you, I'm not responsible for lost or stolen, your tracking number said, if your tracking number said it was stolen, said it was delivered, if your tracking number said it was delivered, and your buyer doesn't want to help you, because they don't have to at that point, then you can still call Etsy customer service. Sometimes they will give you the refund for customer satisfaction and not ding the buyer for it. But it really depends on a whole lot of things. It doesn't depend on a whole lot of anything, actually. I mean, if you're a buyer and you happen to be watching this and this happens to you, and you disagree saying, no, I've never had a problem with my mail before. I don't know what's going on, but I don't believe that my mail was actually delivered. You can call Etsy. You can call Etsy, and they won't necessarily hold it against the buyer because things happen. You can also contact your post office, ask them for the GPS coordinates of where the delivery was, because if it was delivered to the wrong address, the GPS coordinates of the delivery will show. And you can say, that's 3 streets over. I don't live there. You need to figure this out. And then it's the post office's fault. But I will say that as a seller, if there's a problem and you need to go after the post office for your refund, it's in your best interest to refund your buyer immediately. It's good customer service. Making your buyer wait 3 weeks for a refund while you fight with the post office makes absolutely no sense to the customer or to Etsy. And you're playing in Etsy's sandbox. And if the customer then goes and takes a complaint to Etsy by either opening a case or calling them, you could find yourself in trouble. Now, you can put your customer off and ask them to wait while you investigate all this. But again, we don't know what creates a strike against us in the background or not. There used to be a program when they would show you these things, and they stopped doing it because sellers started freaking out about it. But. So shipping. So once it leaves your house, if you don't have a tracking number, it's your risk to take. And that's fine. I mean, sometimes it's just not a good business model to track every single thing. Sometimes it's better to take the risk, especially if you're bringing in your own customers and cultivating your own customer base, either inside Etsy or otherwise. So you're not doing anything wrong if you don't track, but just be aware that if you don't track and the package goes missing, Etsy will expect you to take responsibility for that since you cannot prove that you put it in the mail. And standing up to the customer because you don't believe them because they must be scamming you is a great way to lose your shop. It's a great way to lose your shop because if that's how you view your customers, then track everything. Just trust me and track everything because Etsy doesn't appreciate. You're playing in their sandbox. They don't appreciate you treating the customers that way because your customer could also be buying stuff from me and 30 other people. So they don't want this customer's bad experience with you to piss them off enough that they leave the platform. Etsy spends hundreds of millions of dollars every year attracting new customers. So we all got to play the game. We all have to play the game if we want to have the advantage of a 95 million people strong customer base to be using those search engines and finding our shit, right? So that's how that goes. So shipping's not a big deal. Track when you can. I will say this. I mean, if you're just selling a little envelope of stickers and it's cheaper to replace or refund than it is to track, then maybe you want to track. Maybe you don't want to track. That's fine. You don't have to. You don't have to track. Okay. Actually, let's get that. Let's back that one up. I think if you're in the States and any package valued at more than $15, I believe, has to be tracked. If you're American shipping within the United States. If you're outside of the States, like I'm up here in Canada, I don't have to track if I don't want to. And if that's not working, then don't track. If you're in the States and you're selling $5 or $6 worth of stuff at a time and you don't have to track, then don't track. Then again, what's the harm in charging an extra $1 for shipping? Maybe you ship for free, so what's the harm in charging $1 for shipping so that you can pay that extra? I think in the States it's an extra $1 to track, isn't it? For letter mail? I don't know, I can't remember. Anyway. So shipping is not that big of a deal. Just think of it this way. One of the ways that I think about this where shipping is concerned is that a storefront business can lose about 30%. And anybody who's ever owned a storefront business can tell you it's higher or lower for some or others. On average, a storefront business can expect to lose anywhere from 10 to 30% of their products yearly to shoplifting. So if I'm selling $100,000 worth a year, $100,000 a year worth of stuff out of my storefront business, and I'm losing $30,000 a year, anywhere from $10,000 to $30,000 a year to shoplifting, that's a hell of a lot more than having to pay shipping on 2 or 3 packages. That something went wrong, and per customer service 101 and maintaining customer relations, it's better to take the hit. Most Etsy shops are still going to stay ahead of the curve in terms of money coming in versus dealing with money going back. Okay, there's your expenses that are over here, but there's this money coming in, customer comes in, shit goes back out, shoplifting, right? Well, in the case of, your package didn't show up, I want a refund, you're gonna lose way less doing business on Etsy than you are trying to open your own storefront. It's a weird way to think about it, but it kind of helps take the stress out of the situation. So yeah, If you ship without tracking, you can expect a little, you can expect to even, you can expect occasionally, I've been talking way too much today. You can expect that occasionally something's going to go missing and it's going to be better for you to replace it. Now, if you're having this as an ongoing problem, if 4 to 5 things, if you've got this rash where 3 times a week somebody's coming to you and saying, oh, my package didn't arrive, you need to rethink other things. Where are you doing your advertising? Are you advertising in a broke college students group who might be sharing notes on how easy it is to get certain people to refund them? Maybe stop advertising there, right? You may have to look at other things because for the most part, like I've been doing this, 4 years, 7,600 sales, I think it is right now. I mean, I'm not in the millionaires club, that's for sure, but I've never had that happen. I mean, the only time a package didn't show up was because there was a legitimate issue that we discovered. Usually it's because they forgot to put in their, and I don't have it happen that often. Usually it's because they forgot to put in their apartment number. It's kind of a common problem, and unless you are researching every single address, you're not always going to notice it. And a lot of the time, the mail carrier will just go, oh, Smith, okay. So it'll get there anyway. It's like, anyway. So it's not the problem that people think it is. The reason why it becomes a problem is because people want to go to war every time it happens. So yeah, if stuff is showing up broken, then check your packaging, package your stuff better. Even if you don't think it needs to be packaged better, it's like obviously somebody is if it's an ongoing problem, obviously somebody along the way is so exceptionally rough with the package that you do need to package it better. Even though it's good enough, it's not good enough for the gorilla at the airport, right? As for if you don't track, it's a risk, and you will be at least occasionally paying for a replacement or a refund. And like I said, keep in mind that a refund on a missing package, regardless of what's going on, damaged or missing package, a refund on one of those packages, it's a full refund. Now, if the customer says to you, oh my God, I gave you the wrong address, blah, 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 it's their fault, right? And you can say, okay, then you don't have to offer a replacement. It's their fault. This is what I just outlined was if it is a situation where Etsy's going to look at this and go, well, you're responsible for this one. You didn't package it well enough, so yeah, it broke. You got to replace it. Yeah, you didn't track, so you can't even prove you put it in the mail. Yeah, you got to replace it. That's when you're doing it this way. Customer says to you, I accidentally gave you the wrong address. It went to my old address. I haven't lived there in 6 years, whatever, right? I've seen this happen, right? It's like, I'm sorry, I can't help you. I cannot help you with lost mail because I sent it to the address you gave me. Well, you owe me a refund. It's like, no, I don't. I'm very sorry, but I can't. And then you as the seller, now if this is a person you've normally had a good time with and have no problems with, then you can make your own decision. You can make your own decision as to what kind of a refund you're willing to offer them, how much you're willing to offer them, whether or not you're willing to, I'm sorry, I don't refund, but you know what? I will replace that for you. Give me your current address. You can do that. You know what? I'll replace that for you. Give me your current address, but I will have to charge you for the shipping to your current address. Is that going to be okay? No. Okay, well then I can't help you. You're allowed to do that as long as you can demonstrate factually that it's not your problem, that it's not your fault, that you did not do anything that could have created this situation. Anyway, it's not as hard as I'm making it sound. It really, really, really isn't. The thing is, the reason why I'm kind of like being so careful about this one, is because I have seen people like literally go to war with the customer, end up calling them a scammer. I've seen people lose their fucking shops over this because they've let a situation with their customer get so escalated that they are screaming obscenities and type to these people who are then reporting like, this is how your seller is talking to me. I don't know why I lost my shop. Yeah, because you're an idiot. Anyway, people go to war over this stuff all the time, and people get really, really warped ideas on what they can and can't do. So I'm telling you, this is what you can and can't do. And again, if you're tracking, don't hover over it. Don't hover over it. You'll just stress yourself out to no end. Some people, like if I send to Australia, right now currently Australia is like 4 to 6 weeks to deliver, or is it still? No, wait. My last one to Australia got there in about 3 weeks. All through COVID, For a while, Australia wasn't taking any packages at all. And I had packages stuck in the mail going to Australia that took 4 months to arrive, but once Australia finally opened the borders back up. It's like, that's fine, because a customer contacted me, hey, what's going on? I went and looked, and it's like, oh my God, the border's closed, but your package is in the mail. What would you like to do? Oh, I trust you, I'll wait, because I had a good relationship with that buyer. Right? I maintained my good relationship, so when something did happen, they were willing to trust me. This was fucking awesome, because if they'd have contacted me later and said, this happened, hey, I still never got the package. Oh, well, here you go. No problem. I'll give you a refund. You're being nice to me. I'll be nice to you. You've always been a good customer. I don't need to go to war with you. Anyway, a lot of the stuff that happens where shipping is concerned is because people get freaked right out, because now you're out the cost of your materials and you're out the cost of your shipping. So, and if you've played the race to the bottom on prices game, you can't afford the refund. You're out money. You've done nothing. You've got no profits, right? Like, if I have to give a refund, I'm going to lose a couple of bucks on it, right? But I do have a profit. I'm not a nonprofit here, so I do have a profit in my products. So it's like, okay, well, sales are good. Even after the refund, I'm still going to have a paycheck for myself at the end of the week. I can be okay with that. This is fine. So that is something to keep in mind. I fidget. I'm like, I fidget. I just realized how much I've been fidgeting. So, yeah, I'm making it sound worse than what it is, but when you really, really, really think about it, it's not that bad at all. It's just awareness. If you are not willing to deal with lost mail, with packages not showing up, then track everything. And customers, if they like what you're selling, will be happy to pay for the shipping. And if they're not willing to pay for the shipping, then you're not out much. If you're constantly stressing out because you're expecting to have to refund all this shit, then you're not making any. You're going to be spending all that money on your high blood pressure medication. So anyway, don't do that to yourself. Don't. Anyway, I'm going to stop here because this is probably a good stopping point, or I'm going to start rambling on about other shit. That is the basics about shipping related refunds. I mean, obviously there can and will be other reasons why you need to give a refund, but when you see people losing their fucking minds about their customers, and my God, the hate comes out, not from the customers, from the sellers. Oh my God, I can't believe that person's being such a blah, blah, blah. It's like, Don't treat your customers that way. Just treat it like a problem to solve. Don't let yourself stress out over it. Realize it's going to happen. Realize what you can do to protect yourself, and recognize the situations where, okay, if I'm going to skimp on packing materials, I'm taking a risk, and if something goes wrong, I'm giving a refund. And if I'm giving a refund, it needs to be a refund in full. If I'm not going to track and something goes missing, then I'm giving a refund. And if I'm giving a refund, it needs to be a refund in full. Because if you play games with your customers over how much you're willing to give them, oh, I don't do this because I'm only doing that, and I don't want to be scammed by my sellers. It's like, you're going to lose your shop. Because something went wrong. They're reaching out for a refund. They know they're entitled to a refund because the package didn't show up, the item showed up damaged. You're saying no, they're opening a complaint. You get enough complaints because you're refusing to give refunds that Etsy is going, whoa, this is a no-brainer. Package didn't show up and you didn't track? Yeah, no, we're just getting rid of you. So, and again, it is common sense. But it certainly doesn't look like it or feel like it when people are losing their freaking minds all over social media about it. So yeah, I hope this cleared up some of the misconceptions about that. And like I said, being aware that it's not nearly as bad as people think it is. It's just that people like to overreact, like the world, like Chicken Little, the sky is falling, and they make it sound way worse than what it is, and it's not. Anyway, I'm going to stop here. You guys have a good day. Like, comment, subscribe, ring the bell, do all the things. You know the drill. I'm trying to take over the world, and I need your help. So I will be going for now. I'll see you in the next one, and you guys have a great day. Bye.